The Federal Reserve held rates steady and the dollar just posted its worst single session in nearly a month. That is the headline driving markets into Thursday's close. Coming up, a full evening recap covering metals, equities, energy, crypto, and Forex, plus the day's packed calendar delivered results from the Bank of England rate decision all the way through to U.S. advanced GDP and core PCE, and the symbol-by-symbol read is straight ahead. The dollar extended its post-Fed slide through Thursday's session after the Federal Reserve held rates unchanged, with currency markets repricing Fed expectations and the greenback logging its sharpest single-day loss in roughly 4 weeks. The Bank of England left its official bank rate unchanged at 3.75%, as broadly anticipated, with Governor Bailey noting no evidence of second-round inflation effects, while cautioning against drawing too much comfort from that. Euro area sovereign yields firmed as Middle East tensions and lingering Fed ambiguity kept inflation concerns elevated, and Germany's preliminary July CPI printed at 2.8% year-on-year, just above the 2.7% expected. Oil markets traded in choppy fashion amid reports of Oman-Iran diplomatic contacts and fresh Hormuz-related headlines, keeping energy markets unsettled through the session. The marquee data point on today's calendar was U.S. advanced GDP, with core PCE price index also on the schedule alongside the full suite of Bank of England communications. Silver closed Thursday under sustained selling pressure, with the session reinforcing a strong bearish structure that has price trending firmly toward lower levels. The trend remains pointed down, and so long as that structure holds, the path of least resistance continues to favor further weakness into lower territory. ORCL tracked a strong bearish pattern through Thursday's session, with price action confirming the downward structure and keeping the broader trend leaning toward lower levels. The momentum behind the selling remains intact, making a continued probe of lower ground the more probable outcome while this structure persists. Crude oil navigated choppy conditions driven by Hormuz tensions and Oman-Iran diplomatic headlines, but the underlying trend structure leans bullish, and the session held up the case for higher levels ahead. Price action stayed constructive through the noise, and the path of least resistance tilts toward an extension into higher ground while the bullish structure holds. Bitcoin ended Thursday on the back foot, with a bearish trend maintaining its grip and price action continuing to favor lower levels over a recovery. The structure of lower highs kept the market under pressure through the session, and the probable path remains pointed toward further softness while that pattern holds. MasterCard held a bullish trend through Thursday's session, with price action staying supportive of a move toward higher levels as the broader structure remained constructive. The trend leans higher, and the session's price behavior kept the path of least resistance pointed upward while that structure stays in place. Disney's session reflected a bearish trend that kept price pointed toward lower levels, with the structure of the move failing to show any meaningful recovery attempt. The downward lean remained intact through the close, making further softness toward lower ground the more probable near-term outcome. USDCAD held a mild bearish underlying trend, but the session's probable path tilts toward higher levels, with the pair showing signs of potential recovery against that broader structure. Price action through Thursday kept the door open for a push into higher ground while the counter-trend move holds its footing. The Dow closed Thursday within a mild bearish trend structure, but with price action leaning toward a test of higher levels, as the session reflected the broader dollar weakness and post-Fed repositioning. The probable path favors a push toward higher ground, while this counter-trend bid remains intact against the broader structure. That is Thursday's evening wrap from ForexBullion. If this breakdown added value to your session, subscribing keeps the daily market brief in your feed every day. This is general market information for educational purposes only, not financial advice.